Hello there, everybody. I am First Alert Meteorologist Rodney Harris, and happy Friday to you. I hope you have enjoyed your week. I know we've had some rain out there just about every day. Unfortunately, we're back in that forecast again today. More showers and storms are in your forecast, mainly later on this afternoon, this evening, and tonight. So today is a First Alert weather day. Here's a look at our high-resolution forecast model. You'll be fine this morning. It's super humid outdoors, but you don't have to worry about any rain through lunch if you are in metro Atlanta. However, as we move forward into time, after 3 o'clock, 2, 3 o'clock, we're going to have those pop-up storms, and this is a very summer-like pattern that we're in, so we can't really tell you exactly where the storms will be, but there will be storms popping up sort of all over the place after 3 o'clock. Looks like this is mainly north of I-20, so be mindful of that. Very hit or miss, but rain and lightning will certainly be out there. And then this evening, notice how as we get closer to like 7, 8, 9, we will have some storms right over metro Atlanta. So if you're headed out to dinner tonight, if you have any plans tonight, especially later, like 8, 9 o'clock, our models have consistently shown the concentration over metro Atlanta. So we are forecasting some scattered storms tonight, so watch out for that. And then that'll continue through 11 o'clock, especially southeast of Atlanta, Edenton, Athens. And then after 11, those showers and storms will start to move out. So that's the timing. You're good this morning. You're good for the first part of the afternoon, but the pop-up storms after 3 o'clock, and then a higher kind of coverage and concentration over metro Atlanta around 8 or 9 o'clock this evening. Now, in terms of the threats, if you do see a storm today, what exactly can you expect? Well, everybody will see rain. Not everybody, but if you see rain, lightning will also be in those storms, so watch out for that if you're going to be out and about. And not everybody will see this, but there will be some storms that could produce some gusty winds. And like we've seen the past few days, we're also looking at the potential for some small hail that could be in these storms. I was in a hail storm myself a few days ago here in Atlanta, and it was tiny little hail, so it wasn't really doing damage, but there was a lot of it. So that's what we're looking at. Rain and lightning for sure. The wind and hail is possible, but not everybody will see that. And again, it's going to be very hit or miss. So it looks like throughout the later part of the afternoon, very summer-like. And then this evening is when it may concentrate like right over metro Atlanta. So watch out for that around 8 or 9 o'clock this evening. Here's your 7-day forecast. It does get better over the upcoming weekend. I'm going to take this full for you so you can get an idea of what to expect this weekend. Today, the coverage is at 50%. Again, after 3 p.m., especially right around dinner time. The high's 80, by the way, before those storms move in. Saturday, we have a cold front moving in. There's a 20% chance of more afternoon storms. So you could see an afternoon storm or two on Saturday, but the coverage will be much lower on Saturday compared to today. So that's why Saturday's not a first alert. 84 is your high. Once the front moves through Saturday into Sunday, we will briefly see some drier air move in. So Sunday, we pulled the rain chances altogether. Mostly cloudy, 82. Sunday should be fine. Even Saturday. Like, you don't have to cancel your plans Saturday or Sunday, but you may see a storm on Saturday to where Sunday we're pretty confident you'll stay dry. And then as we start next week, so Monday we'll drop down to 79 as that weak front drops our temperatures just a little bit, not much, still above average. Average is 76 for this time of year. We're going to keep a slight chance of rain in your forecast for the beginning of the week just because it's hot and humid outside. And then by the end of the week, we're kind of getting away from the 7-day, but we do see another front that'll be moving into North Georgia by the end of the week. So Thursday, Friday, those rain chances may have to come up. Just be mindful of that if you're planning ahead. So weekend's looking good. First alert weather day for today. Again, scattered storms after 3 p.m. There'll be more pop-up in nature after 3 o'clock north of I-20. And then it does look like they'll concentrate over metro Atlanta closer to 8, 9 o'clock. So watch out for that. Saturday, only a stray shower or storm. Keep your plans. Just hot and humid. And Sunday's looking really good. We'll keep you up to date on this forecast. I'm looking at some new model data as we speak. I'll have an update for you on Atlanta News First at noon. Remember, you can always get your forecast in the First Alert weather app. And now for a check of your headlines on this Friday, here's Maria.
And we have quite a bit of news to talk about, but we did want to start with weather and encourage you, if you haven't done so yet, download the First Alert weather app, especially when we get days like these where there's changes in the weather pattern. It's a great resource to have so that you can get updated directly to your phones. We come to you on changes in your area. But this is Catch Up Quick, so let's keep things moving along and talk about the news headlines that we're following. And I want to start by taking you out to DeKalb County. This was the scene earlier this morning, and now the Red Cross is assisting half a dozen families who lost their homes last night in this apartment fire. Atlanta News First reporter Chelsea Beimfor is at the complex off Flat Shoals Parkway, where residents are now trying to see what they can salvage.
DeKalb firefighters had to respond out here twice to this building back here when a hotspot flared up overnight. You can see the damage there left behind and where walls were punched out by firefighters. Residents say they started smelling smoke around 8:15 last night. One man says he went outside to look around. That's when he saw the smoke and the flames coming from this apartment building. DeKalb Fire Rescue says this fire started in the basement and every unit inside this building was impacted. One of those displaced residents described how this all unfolded.
Eventually, the fire alarm started going off. My fiance left the building looking for the fire because of the noise, and he witnessed on the second floor the apartment has started inflaming.
We're moving part of the building right now because it's charred wood, and we want to make sure it doesn't, nothing happens again.
For those that lost their residence in this apartment fire, the Red Cross is now assisting every family that needs help. DeKalb County Fire Rescue is still trying to figure out what caused this fire to begin with. Reporting in DeKalb County, Chelsea Vine for Atlanta News First.
And keeping things moving along right now, the big story that we're following, a manhunt is underway after a Fulton County deputy was injured in a drive-by shooting last night near the intersection of Forsyth Street and Trinity Avenue. That's in downtown Atlanta. Atlanta News First, Sarah Hammond reports at Grady Memorial Hospital where the deputy is recovering.
When this deputy was brought here to the hospital, he was conscious and breathing, and Fulton County Sheriff Patrick Labat says he was shot in his lower body. Now, the Atlanta Police Department is leading this investigation, and they say the deputy was shot from a moving car, and the suspect, or suspects plural, fled from the scene immediately. APD officers responded around 5:45 last night after they received a call about a fellow law enforcement officer needing help after that deputy who was shot was in the area to assist with a suspicious person call. Now, Sheriff Labat says they have every resource available trying to find the person responsible. And he says this has been a difficult time for law enforcement after a Fulton and a South Fulton police officer were both shot last Friday on Fulton Industrial Boulevard.
This has happened far too often here recently, and there's a level of respect or lack of respect for law enforcement that has become more and more prevalent. And we need to focus on really getting people to think twice, save a life, and really focus on what next looks like in terms of holding people accountable.
Sheriff Labat says the deputy's family is here at the hospital with him, and they are hopeful and expecting him to make a full recovery. At Grady Memorial Hospital, I'm Sarah Hammond for Atlanta News First.
And a man is dead after he was shot and killed by police in an area police say is known for illegal drugs. It happened yesterday afternoon in the Adamsville neighborhood of southwest Atlanta. Investigators say it started when officers saw a group of people loitering around Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. They say one of those groups ran off, which started a chase and ended with that man getting into a car. Now, according to police, the man was told to stop, but instead reached for a gun, which is when officers fired shots at him. We're continuing to follow this story today, and any developments that come out of it, we will let you know in the free Atlanta News First app. All right, I feel like we've been talking about some of the unfortunate and tragic stories that have come out over the past 24 hours. And I want to talk about something a little more positive because there is positive news to talk about here in Atlanta. It's the annual Delta Jet Drag. Thousands of airline employees are coming out and spending the day dragging a jet, and it's all to raise money to fight breast cancer. To fight cancer in general. Atlanta News First, Joshua Skinner is at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with a look at how it's going.
About to start pulling this plane. So they're dragging it 25 feet. They just started. This is the Crab, looks like it's this Crab and engineering team. Try to drag it 25 feet in a certain amount of time. I think the time to beat right now is about 11.6 seconds. This is all to raise money for the American Cancer Society. And hey, real quick, you're live. How did that feel?
Awesome. Loved it.
Awesome.
Loved it. Loved every minute of it.
How are the arms?
It's more legs.
That's more legs. More legs. Okay, see, there you go. The secrets of pulling a plane. These are things that we all wonder when we go to bed at night. There you go, a new #1 team right there. The Crab engineering team. I think the previous high was 11.6 seconds. But that's what you're seeing. There's 10,000 or so Delta employees who are going to be out here throughout the day pulling this 757 that weighs about 131 100,000 pounds. They're hoping to raise $1.3 million for the American Cancer Society today. I'll be out pulling a plane at about 10:40 or so as well. As you can hear the planes taking off right next to us as well. But it's an event that's a lot of fun, but it's also very serious. You're talking about cancer rates. Someone is diagnosed with cancer about every 16 seconds. So most teams out here trying to beat that 16 seconds when they pull the plane. And again, that's a big sea hawser there that they're dragging about 2.5 inches, normally used to pull the planes out of the mud. So sturdy lines, sturdy planes. Everyone out here is excited. They're rolling through them every couple of minutes. And we're going to be out here all day watching this. We'll pull some planes. We'll talk to some people while we're here and hopefully raise some money for a really good cause.
And we started this week talking about the tragic news, the passing of Pope Francis, and it's been a mourning period throughout the week. Well, tomorrow is the funeral for the 266th Pope of the Roman Catholic Church. The 88-year-old pontiff has a few more hours of lying in repose inside St. Peter's Basilica. It's just after 1 p.m. or right now at the Vatican, a little closer to the 2 o'clock hour. This really has been the scene all week long that we've been showing you as thousands of people have come out to this public viewing, paying their respects and saying their final goodbyes. There was a higher than expected turnout to see Pope Francis one last time before his funeral. In Atlanta, the Cathedral of Christ the King in Buckhead held its own mass for people who cannot go see the Pope in person. And of course, tomorrow is the big day where many will come out to either support the funeral in person if they are abroad, or join virtually and watch the funeral as that gets underway tomorrow. And you can, of course, watch the funeral for Pope Francis in the morning on Atlanta News First. We will have a CBS News special report that begins at 4 a.m. So if you are looking to tune in and pay your respects and really attend virtually, do keep in mind the hour difference from us here in Atlanta as that begins at 4 in the morning. Thanks for choosing us here on Atlanta News First and Atlanta News First Plus. We have a full day of news coverage still ahead, and we are talking about the weather and what you can expect in the coming days on Atlanta News First and Atlanta News First Plus. Meteorologist Ella Dorsey will join us here at 11 o'clock for another edition of First Alert Weather Plus.